Great that you're here. Wonderful. So we can continue with the spiritual healing practice. It's called the Spiritual Healing Open Sessions. We had a series before. It's like the spiritual healing practice. And this is also very practical and very much to the point regarding healing and regarding spiritual healing, basically. That's our niche. That's the door. This is where we start. And so this is a bit different than the healing heart that we just finished. It is a bit different because I'm really not planning that much in this series, but continue with themes that are actual. And the theme that is actual at this point is, for instance, started yesterday with the Tree of Life tape group, in which we recognized a very sensitive spot, and that the sensitive spot is a spot where you see a belief in words to form, like the thought creates the form in your dream. And so that part is really essential. It's the metaphysical, in fact, the metaphysical confusion that you can walk around with, and that I want to really take a look at to have that being cleared of our consciousness, you could say. It's like cleared from our consciousness as having value or something that is something worth striving for. And what I exactly mean with that will come in a moment, because in fact everything that we use today is coming from the healing of that idea. And so that's the, like I said in the other meeting, is like it's science and health. It's Mary Baker. It's Christian Science. It is trying to metaphysically work on symptoms, and this is the part that is like done now. We don't do that anymore. There's no necessity for that, even though you might not believe that right away, because you say okay, but I want this to be healed, and I want this to be better. I don't care how that's coming about, but that's what I want. It's yeah, sure, absolutely. So the reason why I mention this specifically is because we're ready for a next step in this. And the next step is recognizing your true nature as the healing part, recognizing there cannot be such a thing as separation. Recognizing in that I accept that I'm not what I appear to be. I'm not this thing that I appear to be. I'm not that. So we practice with that many times, for sure. And that's perfectly great, because it's deeply rooted in misunderstanding, and that can go now. It's done. We looked at that in the Healing Heart session too. It's it's accomplished. We did that. And yeah, so continuing then with standing still with the same subject. And this is not a trick or anything. It's no, there are some parts that I want to bring in again, with the idea of thought and healing, with the idea of the power of thought, applying the power of your mind to accomplish something that looks like healing. Using the power of your mind to, whether you do that consciously or not, you will hear that in one of the stories here. That whether you do that conscious of not or not, it can still have an effect, which is really interesting to take a look at. But I only use this then as an example to see this is the part that we're going to release, let go of. So that's one thing. And then the other part is in fact the cause of sickness. so the cause of sickness. Why would I mention that even in spiritual healing? The cause of sickness. Well, you will find out in in one of the podcasts that we're going to listen to. So that's another point. So I structured it a little bit, as you can see, but it's like if it spontaneously comes to me to share with you, I will not hesitate to do that. So this is the moment to do that, and in this way, and it looks like that. So starting then with how do you do this? How can we create an atmosphere of trust, of recognition, of recognizing that we're like here pursuing one goal, and that is to come to know ourselves or to recognize the truth of our beingness. How do you create an atmosphere in which that is doable? Now this is of course a great question, and if we would meet in a group, like physical group, you would look at each other and say like, oh, hi, well, good to see you. So this is what we can do too. It's like, okay, hi, how are you doing? Great that you're here. I'm really happy to see you here today, and which is really true. And so another thing would be then to step into say a joint gathering of minds, because we're talking mind here. That's why we're not physically present here. Well, to a certain extent, you sit in front of a screen or a camera, but it's like that part we already skip basically, because we acknowledge each other not as bodies anymore, but as mind. We recognize each other in mind. And also see images, okay, but these are already not so important anymore. You recognize that too in how you experience this. So this is an essential part in the transformation of the way that we do this, which is pretty amazing. Does that mean that we never see each other in physical appearance? Oh, who knows? That might still happen too. That can be very joyous and beautiful too. Absolutely, I'm not excluding that at all. But for now, this is how we meet. Now, one thing in which we can include each other in a common goal, in a common atmosphere, is literally by doing meditation, or by doing a guided meditation, for instance, or by taking time to be still together. Because the thing is, where do we meet then? We meet in the recognition of the same light. And that's happening in you. It's not happening anywhere else. There's nobody outside of you. So there's only one consciousness coming together. And you're totally included in that, of course. You're not separate from that. No. Are you kidding? No. So all of you as one, we will meet now in a select guided meditation, and the one who was invited to bring in the information, to bring in the words that are useful for that, is a dear friend of us, which is like Jesus Christ of Nazareth, from out of time, a resurrected man, bringing us literally a guided meditation to learn, to in fact be invited to receive what he is giving you constantly, what he asks you to do, to follow him in his ways, to come to the recognition of your wholeness through him. A very joyous, beautiful invitation is coming to us. So this is from lesson 69 from A Course in Miracles. I'll read a part of it and read it as it is given to me. So let's start with that and really use this as a moment to see, yes, here's our atmosphere of healing, recognition, wholeness, light, love, release, safety, certainty, all that. It's really beautiful. So let's take a look at that. This is from the lesson, My Grievances Hide the Light of the World in Me. So we start with this. Today, let us make another real attempt to reach the light in you. Before we undertake this in our more extended practice period, let us devote several minutes to think about what we are trying to do. We are literally attempting to get in touch with the salvation of the world. We are trying to see past the veil of darkness that keeps it concealed. We are trying to let the veil be lifted and see the tears of God's Son disappear in the sunlight. Let us begin our longer practice period today with the full realization of all this and real determination to reach what is dearer to us than all else. Salvation is our only need. There is no other purpose here, and there's no other function to fulfill. Learning salvation is our only goal. Let us end the ancient search today by finding the light in us and holding it up for everyone who searches with us to look upon and rejoice. Very quietly now, with your eyes closed, try to let all the content which generally occupies your consciousness go. Think of your mind as a vast, round area, surrounded by a layer of heavy clouds. You can see only the clouds because you seem to be standing outside the whole area and quite apart from it. From where you stand, you can see no reason to believe there's a brilliant light hidden by the clouds. The clouds seem to be the only reality. They seem to be all there is to see. Therefore, you do not attempt to go through them and past them, which is the only way in which you would be really convinced of their lack of substance. But we will make this attempt today. After you have thought about the importance of what you're trying to do for yourself and the world, try to settle in perfect stillness, remembering only how much you want to reach the light in you today, now. Determine to go past the clouds. Reach out and touch them in your mind. Brush them aside with your hand. Feel them resting on your cheeks and forehead and eyelids as you go through them. Go on. Clouds cannot stop you. If you are doing the exercises properly, you will begin to feel a sense of being lifted up and carried ahead. Your little effort and small determination call on the power of the universe to help you. And God Himself will raise you from darkness into light. You are in accord with His will. You cannot fail because your will is His. Have confidence in your Father today and be certain that He has heard you and has answered you. You may not recognize His answer yet, but you can indeed be sure that it is given you and you will yet receive it. Try as you attempt to go through the clouds to the light to hold this confidence in your mind. Try to remember that you are at last joining your will to God's. Try to keep the thought clearly in mind that what you undertake with God must succeed. Then let the power of God work in you and through you, that His will and yours may be done. Thank you so much for joining in this guided meditation. So this is our start. And to come back to one of the first things I shared was this, is like we have to start at the beginning, and which is the idea of the effect of thought on matter. The idea, for instance, what your ideas, how your ideas affect your physical definition, and recognizing that is something that you do, and as long as you don't recognize that you do it, or don't give it away, or don't let that be taken from you, you could say, but more as a natural habit of doing that, consciously or not. Now, that is interesting to take a look at, because we're dealing here with spiritual healing. We're dealing here with energy, like universal energy that we're talking about. Like it is an occurrence that is taking place here in this moment. It is an occurrence taking place in which the ideas that are being offered or that are given away, in fact, are ready to be healed. We will practice that later in subgroups, but it's like here, in fact, we come to a place where we allow ourselves to dislodge ourselves from the place that we try to locate ourselves or try to bring ourselves in our humanhood, thinking that you live in time and space, thinking that you live in a certain country, thinking that you live in a certain body, thinking that you live in all these things that you have assumed as definitions of yourself. Now, the one thing you can say, like, you're not locatable, because where would your mind be? Where you cannot locate your mind. So only if there's an idea of form, an idea of body, then you're able to locate yourself to a certain extent. Because we have done this meditation before too. It's like, well, if you close your eyes, you already don't know where you truly are. Like if you imagine yourself sitting on a chair on a planet Earth, somewhere in billions of galaxies, somewhere on the other edge of a solar system called the Milky Way, you're already lost. Like, you literally don't know where you can find yourself. Now this is essential, recognition that we do here. One other part of it is, for instance, is that it is highly uncertain what is occurring in your life as you see yourself as this human body or as an awakening consciousness. It is highly uncertain what the world, for instance, brings you, or what will happen to you in the next 24 hours. Like if you find yourself in time, that becomes highly, highly uncertain. And you can say, like, this uncertainty is growing by the minute. It is not certain where you find yourself in an instant. Like if you place yourself in time, the uncertainty is increasing. It's not getting less. It's not that you become more certain. No, it's becoming less and less certain where you find yourself, or what can happen, what the opportunities are. It's like it's a state of highly uncertainty. Now that seems to be like a horrible place to be. But it's also like, because of your idea that you find yourself there, it becomes impossible to be there if you do that consciously. That's why you are here. That's why you need an alternative. Like, there's not even a choice in that. You cannot stand this place as you have defined it, with all its uncertainties and with all its repetitions, its patterns, its habits, its impossibilities, and all of that. Right? I hear a big yes here. Okay, great. So that these are recognitions that are important, like totally essential, and they are not a confirmation of your failure. You won't accept that right away, but it is really true. Like, it has nothing to do with your failure. No, absolutely not. You're not failing when you admit that. That is something that grows on you. It's like you learn to admit that you're highly uncertain about what is going to happen. You have no idea what's going to happen. And in learning to wholeheartedly, in fact, admit to your uncertainty, the real certainty can come to you. And so these are essential steps in spiritual healing. And you can ask questions about it. That would be totally fine, of course, because it might not be clear right away what I'm talking about. But coming back to the basics, in fact, in recognizing duality, in metaphysics, in healing, metaphysical healing, I want to bring in two examples. Just for the sake of a demonstration. It's coming from quantum healing from Deepak Chopra. He wrote a book in the 80s and he revised it in 2015. Well, this is from the new book. He comes up with two examples from his practice as a medical doctor. So let's listen to that. the question mark zone. This is an excerpt from the Quantum Mechanical Human Body from the book Quantum Healing by Deepak Chopra, reprint in 2015. And I use this to demonstrate an example of the thought-form relationship. Several years ago, a Boston fireman in his mid-40s came to the emergency room of a suburban hospital one night, complaining of sudden sharp chest pains. The resident on call examined him and could find no evidence of irregularity in his heart function. The patient went away without being reassured, and soon he returned with the same symptoms. He was turned over to me as senior physician, but I could find nothing wrong with his heart either. Despite his thorough examination, the fireman began to return to the ER repeatedly, usually late at night. Every time he came in, he told me with great trepidation that he was certain he had a heart condition, but no test, including the most sophisticated echocardiograms, angiograms, detected the slightest defects. Finally, in the face of the man's mounting anxiety, I recommended that he be retired with full disability purely for psychological reasons. The fire department's medical examining board refused, on the grounds that no physical evidence had been offered. 2 months later, the man showed up one last time to the emergency room, this time on a stretcher, the victim of a massive heart attack. Within 10 minutes of his coronary, which destroyed 90% of his heart muscle, he died, and he had enough strength to turn to me and whisper, "Now, do you believe I have a heart condition?" What this case so dramatically attests is that the detour into the question mark zone is powerful. It can change any physical reality in the body. I feel I must call what happened here a quantum event because it did not follow the cause and effect rules that have been observed and set down by medicine as the body's normal state of affairs. Many people entertain fears that they might have a heart condition, but they don't die from them. Conversely, many heart attacks occur without the slightest forewarning from the mind. Even if we say, in keeping with mind-body medicine, that a thought caused a heart attack, how did this thought find a way to carry out its fatal intention? If you program the concept of heart attack into a computer, you know exactly what you have done. If you want to retrieve it, the circuits can be activated to bring it up to the screen, and once it is there, you can use software to manipulate it. But the thought heart attack didn't act like this at all in my patient. He didn't know where the thought came from. Once it came, he was powerless to escape it, and far short of staying in one place, the thought invaded his body with disastrous results. This is only half of the mystery of the quantum event, the negative half. The journey into the question mark zone can have amazingly positive results too. Another patient of mine, a quiet woman in her 50s, came to me about 10 years ago complaining of severe abdominal pains and jaundice, believing that she was suffering from gallstones. I had admitted her for immediate surgery, but when she was opened up, it was found that she had a large malignant tumor that had spread to her liver, with scattered pockets of cancer throughout her abdominal cavity. Judging the case inoperable, the surgeons closed the incision without taking further action, because the woman's daughter pleaded with me not to tell her mother the truth. I informed my patient that the gallstones has been successfully removed. I rationalized that her family would break the news to her in time, and that in all likelihood she had only a few months to live. At least she could spend them with peace of mind. 8 months later, I was astonished to see the same woman back in my office. She had returned for a routine physical exam, which revealed no jaundice, no pain, and no detectable signs of cancer. Only after another year passed did she confess anything unusual to me. She said, "Doctor, I was so sure I had cancer 2 years ago that when it turned out to be just gallstones, I told myself I would never be sick another day in my life." Her cancer never recurred. This woman used no technique. She got well, it appears, through her deep-seated resolve, and that was good enough. This case, too, I must call a quantum event because of the fundamental transformation that went deeper than organs, tissues, cells, or even DNA, directly to the source of the body's existence in time and space. Both of my patients, one with positive thoughts and the other with negative, managed to dip into the question mark realm. And from there, they dictated their own reality. So why did we listen to this? And that's a good question. It's like, why do we listen to this? Like, what is Deepak Chopra actually saying here? It's like that power has thought over matter, and that can go positive or negative, and that all of this that can influence the process of your sickness. No, that's not why we're listening to this. It's like the essential part in having this as an example is that this was exactly the metaphysical part that we were talking about, and the recognition that you hope for this, the recognition that this is it. Like, if that would happen, that would be so great. Is in fact hoping for something that is still related in time, that is still related to time. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging it, but it is like what happens in spiritual healing is a redirection of your consciousness. And it's like the uncertainty level of somebody who, for instance, the man that had the symptoms of heart conditions, was purely psychological. He was just in a lot of anxiety at night when he actually had to go to work for whatever reason. So that uncertainty stayed. That was not healed at all, even though he didn't have a heart condition. In that sense, it is an interesting example. He didn't even have an heart condition, but he suffered the consequences up to the point of having an actual heart attack. Now, this is, of course, like an amazing thing. It's like here you have time played out. The possibility of something is, in fact, the actuality of it. It literally can happen. So it has a chance to happen, and it will happen. And it is a consequence of taking the misplacing yourself in time and space and thinking that is where you are. So that's why I wanted to take time to take a really good look at this, because the temptation to be happy with the result of something is literally what the undoing of that result is. And you can experience that in your own way, of course. In other words, it is not the healing that takes place is in fact not a redirection of your mind in that case. Metaphysical healing is not a shift in consciousness in which you recognize, oh, this was just a dream. It has nothing to do with me. No, I'm directing my mind in, say, coming into alignment with the truth of who I am, as we practice in the guided meditation from Jesus Christ of Nazareth, who actually is like the total healer, you could say. He resurrected. He shows you which direction to go. Not to take something away from you, no, to bring you to the truth of who you are, which is what happiness, joy, and total extension, and this amazing, infinite, creative flow of beingness is, forever expanding. So this is essential to recognize. So the second example is like this woman was thought like, oh, that were just gallstones. Oh, I was so afraid that I had cancer, and now it's like everything was fine after that. So she decided, I'm not going to become sick ever again. And that is not a realization. Like that is not a realization. It's still magical thinking, hoping that there's an in fact you put a spell on yourself. Like, I hope that never happens again. And so here we are. This is where I want to place us in that sense. Like, this is exactly where I want to put us. And that is like, no, we don't want any of that. We don't want any of that. The only solution that we're actually looking for is the one that brings us to our true identity, and the one that shows me who I truly am, where I can rejoice in that myself, in the recognition that I'm connected with all. Okay, so just hold this thought for a moment. We're going to listen to the cause of sickness from the Song of Prayer. And that's another podcast. It's 4 minutes. It's not that long, but it's essential because it refers to prayer at the same time. And this is a beautiful example. So Song of Prayer is book 6 in the Urtext Manuscripts. And I take only a little part from that to in fact introduce the idea. From the Song of Prayer, volume 6 of the Urtext of A Course in Miracles, section Healing, A Introduction. Prayer has both aids and witnesses which make the steep ascent more gentle and more sure, easing the pain of fear and offering the comfort and the promises of hope. Forgiveness is witness and an aid to prayer, a giver of assurance of success in ultimate attainment of the goal is healing. Its importance should not be too strongly emphasized, for healing is a sign or symbol of forgiveness' strength, and only an effect or shadow of a change of mind about the goal of prayer. Section B. The cause of sickness. Do not mistake effect for cause, nor think that sickness is apart and separate from what its cause must be. It is a sign, a shadow of an evil thought that seems to have reality and to be just according to the usage of the world. It is external proof of inner sin and witnesses to unforgiving thoughts that injure and would hurt the Son of God. Healing the body is impossible, and this is shown by the brief nature of the cure. The body yet must die, and healing it is but a brief delay in its return to dust, where it was born and will go back. The body's source is unforgiveness of the Son of God. It has not left its source, and in its pain and aging, and the mark of death upon it is clearly shown. Fearful and frail it seems to be to those who think their life is tied to its command and linked to its unstable tiny breath. Death stares at them as every moment goes irrevocably past their grasping hands, which cannot hold them back. And they feel fear as bodies change and sicken, for they sense the heavy scent of death upon their hearts. The body can be healed as an effect of true forgiveness. Only that can give remembrance of immortality, which is the gift of holiness and love. Forgiveness must be given by a mind which understands that it must overlook all shadows on the holy face of Christ, among which sickness should be seen as one. Nothing but that, the sign of judgment made by brother upon brother, and the Son of God upon himself. For he has damned his body as his prison, and forgot that it is he who gave this role to it. What he has done now must God's Son undo, but not alone, for he has thrown away the prison's key, his holy sinlessness and the remembrance of his Father's love. Yet help is given to him in the voice his Father placed in him. The power to heal is now his Father's gift, for through his voice he still can reach his Son. Reminding him the body may become his chosen home, but it will never be his home in truth. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today in this healing circle. We call it spiritual healing open sessions. But that's just the name. Thank you so much for being present and participating in this. And thank you for everything.